about 9:45, get warmed up. I've sort of got all my sort of physio exercises and stuff to do. I had a shoulder operation in 2008, so I sort of do all those for 20 minutes at the start of every day just to get that going, and then usually do a court session. Oh, it depends. I probably do one session on court, one session off the court each day. And say my court sessions in the morning, you get warmed up, really good dynamic warm up, and get going at about 10:30 till about 12. And that can vary sort of between match play routines, session with your coach. In the afternoon, I do something more on the fitness side of things for about an hour and a half as well in the afternoon, where you're doing bike sessions. Try to keep it as interesting as possible. Work with my fitness trainer a lot in the gym, sort of strength and stuff like that, and try and keep the training as mixed as possible. In the off season, might even sneak an extra session in first thing, like 7. Try and get up and get used to getting up early. And squash players like to laze in bed, so try and get up early when no one else is doing it. Usually about half an hour. I mean, that has to be flexible, minimum half an hour. That sort of means that mentally, as much as anything, you warm yourself up. You start to sort of mentally gear, so you're not thinking about the match the whole day. You start about an hour, 2 hours before. You just start to gradually build towards it, and then physically about half an hour before. I've always had a practice in the morning, so I've already hit this morning just for half an hour, and then you get ready. Sometimes if the match before is going on a bit longer, you have to stay patient and reevaluate your warm up and things. But ideally about half an hour. And that's very dynamic as well, like skipping, jogging, lunging, dynamic work. Not so much static stretching. Do that more after a match, because before the match, it's not going to get your needs ready for what you need to do on there. Oh well, that depends. I mean, I always have a bigger appetite when I am training compared to when I'm not. The chef at my club knows when I've done, basically knows exactly how hard a session I've done, depending on what I order for lunch, basically. So if I've just done a solo or something, I'll have a sandwich. If I've done a brutal bite session, I'll order half the menu. You do? I'm saying that now. The first round on a tournament's always one I like to get under my belt, and it's nice. And then after that, then you feel that you're in the tournament and you enjoy it. At the end of the day, your training is to be able to enjoy the matches, so you have to enjoy those the most. If your training should be hard enough that then the matches feel easy. But having said that, I do enjoy the day-to-day training as well. And there's been a lot of tournaments lately, so I'm quite ready for a period where I can just do a bit of training without sort of worrying about the tournaments for a while. So it depends on what day you catch me.
Are the players you were playing today, were you playing them as a junior on the tour?
Yeah, a few of them, like who was in my age group. My age group, there was Adrian Grant was in my age group, and Lee Jemmett, if anyone remembers him, and Jonathan Kemp, still playing now, was in my age group. Peter Barker, James Willstrott were an age group below, with Daryl Selby as well. So yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty decent sort of era of players. Lee Beecher was in the one just above, so it's been quite a good bunch of players that sort of come through. Really, you tend to find it that way, that sort of a couple, if you can latch on to someone who's about your standard, and you sort of then push each other up all the time, and that's sort of what's happened with most players, really.
What's your favourite tournament that you've been to?
I mean, the most spectacular squash tournament ever was, I think, when it was out at the Pyramids in Egypt. Although I've never actually won a match on that court, so it's not my personal favourite. Personal favourite is probably playing in New York in Grand Central Station in Tournament Champions. That's pretty good.
Do you speak any other languages?
Oui.
Now you're world number one, world champion.
Yeah.
What's going to drive you on, and what's next? What's next for the
it's a very formal question, yeah.
I'm looking for my next job.
Yeah. From the Sun, yeah. Would you be tabloid or broadsheet?
Broadsheet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I sort of get asked that a lot, and sort of speaking to a lot of people in other sports, I sort of saw a couple of examples of people who sort of got to the pinnacle, if you like, and then we're like, okay, what do I do now? And that's sort of quite a common thing, you know. You strive for something all your life, and then you get there and you're not sure what to do. So I've tried really hard not to get into that position. So I'm still striving to sort of every day to better myself, and you know, I feel like I could be a better player, but be 2-3 in the world, you know, because other people are improving as well. Sort of take out the winning and the losing side of it and just try and get better, and then see where that sort of takes me, really. You know, I'm pretty driven by the fact that you're a long time retired, so I want to make the most of the years playing as much as I can. You know, you don't want to ever look back and think, oh, I wish I'd have just got out of bed a little bit early, a few more mornings, and, you know, put a little bit more work in. I'm driven by not ever having any regrets, and then, you know, and then at least you can hold your hands up and say it gave it everything. So.
Training as a junior, did you ever have people that were better than you, and did that make you want to maybe like stop doing it, or did that help you improve?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I had days, I mean, I was never sort of that great in the juniors. I was sort of, I think in the under 14s I got to maybe like 15 in England or something. I wasn't sort of always at the top of my age group, so, you know, I worked really hard, and then in the under 19s I managed to get to number 1 in England, so I was always sort of driven by trying to beat people who were better than me, and train harder than them, and become, you know, better players. And, you know, don't get me wrong, there was always a day or two when I thought, oh, I can't do this anymore, you know, I want to give up playing. You know, everyone has that, everyone's human. So, but it's just sort of remembering that, you know, you take a couple of days off and remember that you do it for fun, to enjoy it first and foremost, so, you know, you come back stronger all the time.